Hey there, friends. It's Phil, and it's episode 12 of Grow It. So let's have a think. Right. So, business update, little bit of a change of theme on the old podcast today. So, where we're at. Okay. The strategy that we're following at the moment for all of you out there is that we're trying to build a community. Yes, a community on Facebook, because our demographic, or they say the demographic that we're particularly interested in, are in the range of 35 to say 55, maybe 60, or even older, actually. We're interested in that demographic. And the great thing is, Facebook is the best place for that demographic. So, what we're doing is we're running a little bit of a campaign. Now, the campaign is, for reference, if you're interested in Facebook advertising or doing any of that sort of stuff, Facebook, Instagram advertising particularly, do drop me a message, because I've been on the Facebook advertising platform for around about 10 years now. So have spent some millions of pounds on Facebook, and yeah, I've learned some stuff along the way. Anyway, look back. So what we're doing at the moment is we're building this little community on Facebook, and in the last, say, 40 odd days, we've been putting a awareness advert out on into the locations that we're particularly interested in building that audience. Now, the audience is one in the UK, yes, because allgardening.co.uk is UK homed. We're also building an audience in Ireland, which is fascinating, because the Irish gardening community are much more sharing. We're also building a bit of an audience in the United States, and that audience is building kind of equally in just about every state, which is fascinating. We're also building a bit of an audience that are coming in from New Zealand and Australia and Canada. And yeah, so the audiences are building. And the idea of building the audiences is that, obviously, All Gardening and the Lawn Service, what we're trying to do with All Gardening and the Lawn Service is promote the learning of lawn care online through all of the tools that we've learned to use over the many years of running All Gardening. So we use things like Google Earth, and we use things like Zoom, and we use things like FaceTime and email to help people understand their lawn, assess their lawn. And in the past, we used to sell, obviously, services directly to them, which we're not doing at the moment, but we might do in the future, particularly in England. And that may come from the franchise opportunities that we're advertising on the website. So we're building these audiences in all of these different places. Now, that's because All Gardening always had a very big idea. And the reason why it was called All Gardening is because when you look at Google Earth, when you look at the planet from Google Earth, you see two colours. One is blue for the sea, the oceans, and the other one is green for the land. You can't, obviously, from a distance, you can't see the buildings. All you can see is the greenness of the planet. And obviously, when I first had thought about calling All Gardening was because the planet's a garden, right? It's as simple as that. So I called it All Gardening because we all look after a garden, don't we, in some capacity? So yeah, so we're building this global audience, and we're only spending a fraction, a couple of quid a day building this audience, and the audience is growing at about 200 people a day. Yes, 200 people a day, which is extraordinary. And alongside that, we've created the All Gardening Cafe. And the All Gardening Cafe actually came from an idea that I saw 16 years ago or so on eBay. It was called the eBay Cafe, actually. And you went to the eBay Cafe to learn from other people how to do stuff. And once you learned how to do stuff, you then went on to eBay and you became a buyer or seller. And I've got the same idea, really, with the All Gardening Cafe. The idea is to go get yourself a cup of tea and come on to the All Gardening Cafe and ask some questions that you want the answers to. And then maybe there'll be some opportunity to use some of the services that are available on All Gardening. And what we're doing, obviously, or actually not obvious, but what we're doing with Facebook is that we're building this audience that are engaging with our page, and we're doing some social media content just to keep things alive as such. But what we're doing is we're inviting all of those people that are engaging with our page to come and join our group and come and have a chat, because a Facebook page, a business page, gives us as a business, All Gardening, the opportunity to broadcast information out, but it's not typically a kind of a three-dimensional discussion, really. So the Facebook groups are designed for communities of people to learn from each other, and that's the way the All Gardening Cafe is being built. So so this Facebook tactic that we're running with a minimum spend is building awareness, brand awareness, globally, if that sounds bad. We're inviting all of those people. The one common thing of by the way, the countries that we're advertising to is they are native English speakers. But that's not to say that we're close to the rest of the world. But we're not at all. We'd love everyone to come and join us because it's all gardening, right? But yeah, so you come and hook on the page, and then you come and join the group, and hopefully within the group, which is growing every day, we can get a kind of a community thing going on, people helping each other to grow great gardens, grow stuff, and ultimately we might pick up a couple of lawn, either people interested in more about lawns, people interested in about looking after lawns better for their clients, or even people interested in picking up an all gardening lawn service franchise. But we'll see. So with that seems to be working pretty well. The Facebook thing's all set up. The analytics on Google Analytics is all tracking the performance of Facebook, which is great. And our traffic on our our website is only 5,100% better than this time last year, when we weren't running this tactic. So, I mean, obviously we're coming from small numbers, so we're not going to flatter ourselves with the 5,100% increase. But look, let's say the underlying trend at the moment, and we are only on the 2nd of February 2021, on a Tuesday, by the way, is the underlying trend is we are getting an increased volume of people coming on the website. And even though it's allgardening.co.uk, and it's not a .com or a .wherever, the idea is that it's a global destination, and given time, we look to optimize the platform for the other countries where All Gardening gets a bit of a digital footprint. So so the data from Google's looking pretty tidy. We're also I'd always talk about we, because we were a we team once, but we're now an I team, which is I. The podcast is doing all right, starting to pick up. If you're listening, thanks for listening. Hit subscribe if you want to keep mustering the gang. YouTube's sort of ticking along. There's some stuff on there. Obviously, we expect things to light up a little bit more coming into spring. At the moment, it's actually snowing outside. It's got about 5 or 6 centimeters of snow. Instagram, it's kind of like slowly taken there, but I think our audience the audience that we're after, the persona we're after at the moment, is actually more on Facebook. So I'm concentrating more on Facebook growth than Instagram growth, which is fine. Twitter, we're chucking some stuff out there. That seems to be okay. Get a little bit of traffic from Twitter, but nothing to write home about. And in terms of our email acquisition into our funnel at the moment, it's just it's ticking along. Nothing big, but we're not really doing an awful lot at the moment. So anyway, look, so the plan's kind of bedding in. The strategy seems to be working okay. We're getting an increased interest in what we're doing, and yes, most importantly, we're going a little bit global. Anyway, look, it's Phil. Thanks for listening. I'm going to shut up now and go and do something else. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It would just give me an indication that you're interested in what we're doing. And if you think you can help, drop me a message. On any of the channels, just drop me a message. And we'll keep building every day. Anyway, thanks for listening. And that's the update for now. See ya.